Moving along here, we come to the third noble truth. Yeah, we're moving through the noble truths here. The third noble truth. The third noble truth is the prognosis. You know, first noble truth is the diagnosis that there's difficulty, there's distress, there's suffering, there's disappointment that's woven into the warp and woof of life, that's woven into the fabric of life. And the second one is the cause. You know, if you see it as a doctor treatment, you know, second one is the cause. But before we get to the treatment, which is the fourth noble truth, we have to see what the diagnosis, what the prognosis is, whether there's any hope here at all. So the third noble truth is extraordinarily hopeful and optimistic, right? There's a sense that this is not a Calvinistic situation, completely immutable, completely hardwired. It's not completely hardwired. Is what the third noble truth is saying, that it is possible. Now, of course, in the classic sense, it's possible to end suffering. Unfortunately, we get hooked into that too easily here in North America, and we've hooked onto that. Oh, I can get rid of my suffering. You know, oh, let me do that. Of course, I want to do that. Much more helpful, I have found, to consider it thusly, that it's possible to reduce our suffering, that it is possible to move in a direction of lessening our distress, that something can be done about it, that it is possible, that it is possible within this, as Susan would say, the fathom-long body, that it is possible within this body and mind to move in the direction of lessening our distress. And the Buddha had a lot more to say about that. And it's not a matter of having a special, unique mind or unique body in order to be able to do this, or unique gender, or unique anything, caste. That it's possible. It's possible. It's humanly possible within this very organism that has accrued lots of suffering to begin to release it. Just that is a tremendous breath of fresh air. Because the first two noble truths are, you know, could be a little discouraging and claustrophobic if there were only the two noble truths, right? How wonderful that there is the third and the fourth. That's the third and the fourth. But here it's the third. And the third, as we'll see as we move forward, but the third is so much connected with letting go. The first is about the distress. The second is about, look, we have to look more clearly at what it is. It's not a concept. Distress, you know, suffering, distress, dissatisfaction, pain, suffering. It's not just an idea. We have to look closely and see how it is, where it is, and how it is constructed, how we have participated in constructing it in ways that we have not seen, because we haven't looked closely enough in some particular ways in order to see it. We can't release it. We can't begin to let go until we see clearly what it is that we're letting go of and why we would be letting go of it. Right? You know, it's simple like that. It's simple like that. So the first two noble truths, if we don't try to skip over them, and it's too often we want to skip over them. For 20 years, I wanted to skip over the first two. The first two was like, yeah, I get it. Let me get on with letting go. But I didn't even really know what I was letting go of. Not really. I didn't realize that in the way I was practicing, I was creating more suffering. I thought I was letting go, but I was tightening up more around my practice, around the breath, and around controlling, and around, using willpower, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's not what the Buddha recommended at all. Somehow, that's how I heard it. I skipped over the first two noble truths. Who wants more of those? Yeah. We have to see, but then, you notice, you read more, you see more, and you go, oh, how interesting that as we move along with the noble truths, the Buddha's talking more about, it's not about having something else, getting something else. It's about letting go of the tension, of the tightness, of the contraction, of the clenching, of the gripping and the grasping and the clinging and the craving and the avoiding and the pushing away. It's about stopping some of that. Nirodha means cessation. It means the extinction. It's the letting go of the holding on itself is what leads to some of the deeper sense of relief and release. Not grabbing onto something else. It's seeing that, it's the release itself. I'm reminded of this in relaxation training. There's something that some of you may have heard of, the Jacobson technique. Yeah, the Jacobson technique is a perfect example of what the Buddha's pointing to here. In the Jacobson technique, you tighten up some muscle group. The idea is this: we can't just relax a muscle group. First of all, it's the water we swim in, some of our tightness, a lot of it actually. But so here it is. You tighten your fist, really, you can do it right now. Just tighten your fist, really squeeze, right? Really squeeze your fist. 5 or 6 seconds, really squeeze, right? And then just stop squeezing. And what happens is that there's a complementary reflexive relaxation response that happens in the letting go. That actually is, it's kind of relief to not be doing this, but also just even the muscles themselves start to soften a bit. Now they won't stay that way because mostly there's psychophysical tightening in us that we have practiced for a long time. And there's a lot of armoring in us. There's a lot of tightening in us. But so much of what the Buddha is pointing to, I've used this example before with the finger handcuffs is what they're called. I think they're still around. You've seen them as a kid. There are these fabric-y things. You put your fingers in them, and then the idea is to take them out, get your fingers out, take your fingers out, right? And of course, this is what kids do. It's what I did. You pull, and when you try to pull them out, they tighten more around your fingers, right? So that's not how you get them out. And that's not how you get free. In Buddhism, that's not what the Buddha taught. He said, I tried that a lot of different ways. This. I think that's what it is. I think more willpower. I think more renunciation. Maybe if I don't eat at all. Maybe if I'm, more rough and ascetic. Maybe that's the way. He said, no, that's not it. This is part of the whole path. This is part of his great contribution to the whole contemplation, that it's not more of this. It's not trying harder, pushing harder that gets us free. In fact, we can bring that right into our meditation practice, though, and that ain't it. It's beginning to see that it's not that. It's seeing the tensing and beginning to, how do I soften around it? Oh, here I go again. Here it is again. Oh, I get it. I can't stop clenching. I can't stop it. I get it. This is what's been so deeply hardwired. My wanting, my not wanting. I can't stop that. First, I have to see it. I have to see look at that. Oh, I get it. It's part of what the organism is doing. Mentally, around the heart, physically, tightening, tightening, tightening. But can I see that? And when I see it, can I begin to go, oh, I get it. This is the direction now. It's not to grind down harder and say, come on. You can do this. You can stay with the breath. You can keep that thing away. Come on. That's not it. It's about how do I begin to soften it? How do I begin to let go? Ajahn Chah said, you let go a little, you'll have a little happiness. You let go a little bit more, you'll have more happiness. You let go of a lot, you'll have more happiness. He didn't say if you try harder, if you accumulate more merit, if you get more stuff, if you get more serious, if you get more, if you let go more, is what he said. If you let go more. Okay? So the sooner we see that in our practice, the better. Because the most fundamental misunderstanding is that the way out is to try harder and to push harder. The sooner we see the end of that, the counterproductive nature of that, and say, no, that's not it. In fact, when I see that, that's where I need the softening, the holding. Oh, wait. Oh. Okay? Yeah. So let's meditate together. And one of the ways to do it, to see it, it's an exercise. We can do a little of this today too. One of the beginning ways is just to see it, to settle first of all in the inner holding environment, to settle, and then to see the clenching that starts to arise all by itself. Yeah? One moment, this is pretty settled. All of a sudden, who did that? How's that happen? But that's what happens again and again, 100 times. The mind goes. It's going to get something. And then you see that and you go, oh, let me let that go.